Hi, I'm Matthew Jones.
I'm Sam Wade.
Welcome to People of Chi Alpha, where we bring you the tremendous stories of faith from those you know and love. Within Chi Alpha today, we have a special guest, Kalen Richmond. Kalen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, my name is Kalen Richmond. I am a senior at Ball State, studying communications, and I am just really happy to be here and excited to share a little bit about my story.
And Kalen is a core group leader within Chi Alpha. He's on the worship team as well. So a lot of great roles from Kalen.
Yeah, what a guy. Kalen, to start out this podcast, I kind of want to just ask you first question so we get going. So you grew up in Ellettsville, Indiana. For those who don't know, it's a little bit by Bloomington, if not, in Bloomington, like very close. Yeah. So how did being in that community kind of shape your faith?
Yeah, well, Ellettsville is, like you said, it's right near Bloomington, but it's kind of its own small little community, a tiny little high school. I grew up in a church, probably about 200-300 people. So we just had a lot of chances to just get to know a lot of people and just share a lot of life together. And, we grew up together with a lot of the same people. So there wasn't a lot of cases where you just didn't know people. So it was a lot of just getting to know people, sharing life with people, growing up, playing sports, going to church, the usual small town life. So.
Yeah, and that translated well for you coming up here to Chi Alpha as well, because we've had several people from Ellettsville become members of Chi Alpha. Is that what kind of made you stick around?
Yeah, so when I first got to Ball State, I was introduced to Chi Alpha by someone that I knew from high school, and I just kind of stuck with it from there. Like, I don't think it was just because of him. I just, I was welcomed into the community and just found a home right away. So that just gave me an opportunity to just meet a lot of people and just begin enjoying life on campus. And through that same kind of idea, I've, welcomed other people from my high school and from my hometown into Chi Alpha, and a lot of them have become, integral parts to the community. So
now you mentioned that big key word, community, there. What would you say is the importance of community in spiritual formation?
Yeah, I think community is just one of the main anchors of what it means to be formed by Jesus. Any stories that you hear about Jesus or anything that you read about Jesus, he always had his community and his best. It's not even just his community, but his best friends that were around him. It's easy to think that it was just kind of Jesus, and then he had these 12 people that were just kind of following him around. But in reality, these were his closest friends that he did life with, did ministry with for, those 3 years that he did his ministry. And so, that's just the model that is just really important to follow in our lives. If we're striving to be like Jesus and living a life like Jesus, it's important to have that community around us that we do life with, that we do, ministry with, we go eat meals with, all the things that we do. It's just important to have people around you that are sharing that same walk with you.
Yeah, so kind of going back to you being a core group leader, how has that helped you not only strengthen your faith, but also others as well?
Yeah, well, my time as a core group leader, it's been different. I've led for 3 years. This is obviously my last year with me graduating, but I've just had 3 kind of different sets of groups that have all had different personalities. The first year I led was a lot smaller group, just a few guys, and we grew a lot just as just a few friends that year, and that allowed us to have some good conversations and really get to know each other really well that first year. And then the next year, our group kind of exploded and pretty much doubled in numbers, and we welcomed a lot of newer faces in, and it just gave us an opportunity to really build a community of our own that wasn't just kind of a few friends, but an actual community, and really just learn from each other, learn what it meant to live in community, learn what it means to just be a group of people that cares for each other and learns together. And then this year that we're in right now, things have kind of changed. Some guys that were in my group have kind of moved on and become leaders in their own right and lead their own groups of guys. And so I've kind of taken on kind of the role of kind of the older group in Chi Alpha, as far as, just the different core groups that we have. My group is almost entirely upperclassmen. And so it's just been awesome to, we've all known each other for at least a year or two. Some of us, we've known each other for 4 years now. So it's just been just a great opportunity for us to, dive even deeper into what it means to, really follow Jesus. And it's just a great opportunity to go deeper.
Of course, Sam Wade is in that group, and I'm sure he's had
Yes,
a
sir.
tremendous time. Remember last week he was we were walking back from class, and he was just talking about the wonderful things that you and the guys were doing. But one thing that you guys did last semester, which I thought was really interesting, was the whole silence and solitude lesson. Can you kind of tell me about that and why that's so important for people nowadays?
Yeah. So when we were kind of just discussing the different things that we'd want to, study and talk about last semester, we came to just the realization that like one of the biggest struggles that people have in their walk with Jesus is that they don't know how to spend time with Jesus. And so we began searching around, trying to find some different just opportunities to learn more about that. And we stumbled upon, the great John Mark Comer and his church, that they do such amazing things out
The
in
future
Portland.
of the church.
Yeah. And so they had this great series that they did back, I think, in 2016, just called Silence and Solitude. And kind of the whole idea of it was just to make time to just be with God. And, that looks different for a lot of different people, but one of the main kind of components of that is just to be silent and just let God speak and try to just clear your mind from all the other distractions. And yeah, so we went through that series for about 9 weeks, and, it was just something that, we all learned a lot from, and just really impacts just the way we just think about how we spend time with God.
Yeah. And this year has been different for you in a lot of ways. You mentioned your core group and, of course, COVID as well, but you also started the job at Union Chapel. So how did that kind of come to be? What is your role in that? What's kind of like the career goal beyond what you're doing now?
Yeah, so outside of Chi Alpha, I started attending a church called Union Chapel here in Muncie back in January of 2018. And just through that, I've just made some really awesome connections, joined the worship team, and just met some of the staff members. And I really just felt a calling, after I switched majors to communications. And I really just had a passion, for ministry and the parts of ministry that aren't exactly just like preaching or pastoring, but more of the actual, like, kind of the backbone of what it takes to run an organization. And so just the connections that I had made at Union Chapel gave me the opportunity to just discuss, opportunities of internships. And so, last year I just got in conversations with the connections pastor there and the executive director. And so this past August, I began a job there and began working with the connections team. And so our main focus there is, or there's kind of two main focuses with that group. The connections group is just, one is the first impressions team, where we spend, we spend our Sundays really focusing in on, how do we welcome people into our church and really show Jesus to people on just any Sunday morning, anytime they walk into church, whether they're someone that's been around for 40 years or someone that's never been to Union Chapel before. How do we show Jesus to them? And then as well, we, the big part of connections is also just taking those people that we interact with on Sunday mornings, and how do we get them plugged into more opportunities? So, small groups, worship team, volunteer opportunities, as well as just going out in the community and doing service projects. So that's a huge focus of what we do, and it's just been an incredible experience, and I've loved every minute of it.
So can you talk a little bit about the beginning of your Union Chapel experience? Because you said that you joined January 2018. What kind of led you to go there?
Yeah, so when I first came to Muncie and to Ball State, we checked out a few different churches, and I had some older friends that had been here a year or two or three, and so kind of just went to some different churches in that time. But then actually the same person that had brought me to Chi Alpha was working at a barbecue place in town, and he worked for people that went to Union Chapel, and they invited him to what's called a young adult lunch at Union Chapel. And so we're just like, okay, free food, we're college kids, we don't want to spend money, we don't want to make anything after church. So we checked out this church, and we stayed for the free lunch, and I've never left. So it's been, just that opportunity has just been awesome. And just the role that person that I met in high school that brought me to Chi Alpha, and then thus also got me plugged in with Union Chapel. It's like, he doesn't know it, but that is just like insane how like instrumental he has been in forming my walk with Jesus. So
yeah,
in my career.
And you've also had a lot of great pastoral influences since you've come to Muncie. I mean, you had a couple of years under Josh Bowman here at Chi Alpha, and then in Joey, and then also Pastor Greg at UC. How have they kind of just helped develop Kalen and who he is today? Before, like look back at like freshman year Kalen to now. what's changed?
Yeah, I think in all this time, I've just really put in a big focus on just taking in as much just information as I can and just really learning how I can implement different things into my life. And so, Joey, our director at Chi Alpha, he's been huge as like my kind of my main mentor through my entire time here. Of just, he's always trying to offer resources, always trying to teach me different things. But then we've also just, grown on a just a friendship level. Just that opportunity to become really good friends, and that's really just how you share life together. And so having that relationship with him has really formed me, because I can see him as, such a, obviously no person is perfect and no mentor is going to be perfect, but Joey is one of those people that just offer, a really close impression of what it means to be Jesus for people. So
Absolutely. Now, switching gears just a little bit, one of the things that Kalen is most known for here at Chi Alpha is implementing the beloved Smash Bros tournament that all the guys and gals compete with for the last couple years. So how did that come to be? What made you want to do that?
So back when, Matthew and I were sophomores, Super Smash Bros came out with I think a 5th game. And it, as soon as it came out, it kind of took us by storm, and we didn't want to do anything else. It seemed like except play Smash Bros. And so, that early spring, that second semester that year, we just started talking. It was like we should do a big Smash tournament for Chi Alpha, and so we kind of put the plans in place, and we invited a bunch of people. And that first year, we had 32 different people enter, and it was just an awesome opportunity, not only for us to just enjoy playing the game, but also for Chi Alpha to just experience that community that we're all about. We were able to invite so many people that weren't always just like at the forefront of everything we do, and it just offered us an opportunity to welcome a bunch of people in and just meet different people, and also just have an incredible time playing a game that we all enjoyed. So then last year we did the same thing and had another big tournament and had a blast doing that. And then this year we're thinking about doing another one. Things are a little different with the COVID pandemic and all, but we're trying to work through things and try to figure out how to do it. So
Yeah, so last year's compared to the very first year, I was a freshman when the first one happened. I was unfortunately unable to participate. But the second one had a little bit more of a production role to it, style to it,
Yeah,
if you will.
We did the selection show as well, which was a lot of fun.
Exactly. So I think that added an element of, I guess I don't know what you want to call it, but
just the camaraderie behind the whole thing. So yeah, it's a lot of fun looking back, at least for me, to see what like the impact that Kalen has. Of course, that's not the point. Like we don't come here to like, oh, I got to make an impact and let people remember my name, but it's amazing just hearing your story about how like this is all about Jesus, and especially what you've been able to do in your core group and stuff.
And still being able to, like he said, he's leading upperclassmen, and he's still being able to grab their attention and help them through their journey, no matter where they are. And a lot of upperclassmen, would be not necessarily stubborn, but like
stubborn. Stubborn's the right word.
Think by this point in either their walk of life or in college that they seem to know a lot more than the average person or the freshman or sophomore, and it's very impressive that he's still reaching those people, and I mean me especially, but yeah.
So final question here, not necessarily focusing on the upperclassmen, but maybe incoming freshmen. Looking back, of course, what advice would you have for an incoming freshman who is A, wanting to be involved in a community like Chi Alpha, and 2, wants to live the way of Jesus throughout their 4 years at Ball State?
Yeah, I think for that first kind of question, just like if you're coming to college and you're looking for a community to be involved with, it's like don't just stand on the sidelines. Like if you want to be in community, like go for it. It's important like to just get involved with something, whether it's Chi Alpha or some other community. But it's just important that you put yourself out there and be a part of things, because sometimes it's hard to be a part of a community if you yourself aren't really putting in work to just be there and show yourself to people and just engage with people. And so that's just my encouragement to people, is just to do whatever they can to make those connections and just get engaged with the community. I'm big on the idea that discipleship happens in community, like we've talked about. I love what we do at our large service for Chi Alpha, and I absolutely love what we do at Union Chapel for large service. But there's something that happens when you're just in community, and just like we do core groups at Ball State, like we've talked about, and that's just the opportunity that you have to really just learn more about Jesus and about yourself, and you're able to just share your struggles and learn about what other people are going through, and just be able to encourage people through that. And yeah, so my encouragement for that is just to get plugged into a core group or a small group, wherever it be, and then also just soak up as much as you can. There's so much knowledge out there, so much just amazing things, like we've talked about, like learning things about John Mark Comer. His teachings and stuff has been huge for not only just the students at Chi Alpha, but also our staff. It's completely formed a lot of the things that we teach. And so there's so many great resources out there. And so I just encourage you to, seek those out.
Awesome, extra awesome. Well, that'll do it for this edition of People of Chi Alpha. For Sam Wade, I'm Matthew Jones. And then thank you so much, Kalen Richmond, for joining us.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
This man is going to do wonderful things. He already has, but he's got even more in store because God is good. Amen. Amen, amen, amen.